Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with the Dog Tommy. Well, this video is on your Smackdown spoilers. If it gets uploaded before the Smackdown plays, it'll still be a spoiler. Happy birthday goes to ECW Original, just incredible, turning 41 years old, while Missy Hyatt turned 52. Also would have been the birthday of 49th birthday of the former WCW star, the Renegade, Rick Wilson, who was WCW's cheap shot of the WWE's Ultimate Warrior gimmick. The gimmick ultimately proved to be too much for Wilson to overcome, even after dropping the face paint and singlet. He was released in December of 1998 and committed suicide February 23rd, 1999, and he was 33 years old at the time of his death. Wrestling legend and patriarch of the Hart family, Stu Hart, died on 2003 after complications arising from an elbow infection. Besides siring to one of the greatest wrestling families of all time, Hart's training resume reads like a who's who of wrestling talent, including Edge, Chris Jericho, Brian Pillman, the aforementioned Just Incredible, and more. He was 88 at the time of his death. WWE NXT star Mojo Rawley may be having shoulder surgery soon. The surgery is confirmed that he will be out of action for a while. Mojo has a reputation of being rough in the ring. Curtis Axel and Ryback should be back on TV, WWE TV, very soon, likely within the next month. As noted, Axel was kept off TV while Ryback recovered from hernia surgery. High Spots is putting out a new shoot interview with former WWE champion Jazz, and there's a link to the video. The trainer is above and the description is below. And Jazz talks about getting released from WWE and a conversation she and her husband Rodney Mack had with John Laurinaitis. Hosted by Sojo Boat sits down. The host Sojo Boat sits down with the baddest bitch on the planet, Jazz. Jazz shares her unique story of breaking into the business and kicking guys' asses in ECW. She also goes in depth about her run in WWE as a women's champion, as well as her time on the indies in WSU. Jazz pulls no punches in this hard-hitting edition of Diva Diaries. Tonight's WWE TV tapings took place from the BJCC in Birmingham, Alabama. No matches have been announced for the main event, but Sheamus and the Usos versus Stardust, Goldust, and The Miz has been announced for SmackDown. If you're attending the show, or any show, send me an email or go to my Facebook page and send me a note. Episode of this past Sunday's episode, I guess, of Total Divas getting some attention on sports sites as Cleveland Browns player Gary Barnidge, who took out Summer Rae and Rosa Mendez on the show. Jerry the King Lawler, who was friends with Barnidge, mentioned his appearance on Raw this past week. The Honky Tonk Man has released the following statement on his inclusion in the 2K15 WWE 2K15 video game by downloaded content. HTM was in one of the first WWE video games, WrestleMania, on the Nintendo Entertainment System back in 1989, and now in 2014. It's incredible to be a part of each generation. I am thrilled and excited to be a part of the WWE 2K15, which will let fans all over the world shake, rattle, and roll with generations of WWE superstars. I can't wait to see it. HTM, unquote. The dark segment after SmackDown tapings from Tuesday night saw the Wyatt family, Kane and Seth Rollins, surrounding Ambrose in the ring before attacking him. Sheamus, Dolph Ziggler, and the Usos made the save. Babyfaces hit their finishers, and Ambrose hit the dirty deeds on Rollins to end the show. Send the crowd home happy. Dark match before the main event tapings in Birmingham saw Kofi Kingston defeat Heath Slater with Trouble in Paradise. Dark match in between main event and SmackDown saw NXT champion Adrian Neville defeat Sami Zayn as Neville won with a red arrow and got a huge pop from the crowd. It was reported earlier that NXT stars were not backstage at Raw in Atlanta, so it appeared that they were brought in for SmackDown tapings plus this weekend's events in Mexico and Canada. Orlando O was at the SmackDown tapings in Birmingham, sent the following report. Dark match. Kofi Kingston defeated Heath Slater. A good back and forth match as Kofi won with Trouble in Paradise, and the match held prior to the main event tapings. Word coming out of this week, Eden Styles will be replacing Justin Roberts as the new Raw announcer. Lillian Garcia will stay on SmackDown, and when Lillian isn't present at live events, Byron Saxton fills in. It was noted that the decision for Eden to work Raw was already been finalized, but plans could change between now and next Monday. There's also talk about JoJo being brought to the main roster. Remember, she was on last season's Divas program on the EU Network. JoJo wasn't a Total Divas season, and she will be doing ring announcing for NXT for some time. Has been doing ring announcing for NXT. Speaking of NXT, they taped the following matches for NXT: Baron Corbin versus Elias Sampson, Sin Cara and Kalisto versus Buddy Murphy and Wesley Blake. Charlotte versus Becky Lynch, Marcus Lewis and Sylvester Lefort versus Big Cass and Enzo Amore. Carmella versus a local wrestler, Leva Bates. Sami Zayn versus Tyson Kidd. R-Truth was recently working with recording artist Alexander King, who appears on A&E's Big Smo reality show and the new WWE 2K15 soundtrack. Truth has been working on his own hip-hop project for some time now. It's been noted at a recent WWE live event reports that NXT champion Adrian Neville has been receiving big pops from main roster crowds, and WWE officials have also been taking notes, and Neville has received some praise backstage. PW Insider confirms reports that WWE will be making Steve Austin more prominent in the company next year. They are currently working on plans for next year, but nobody seems to know exactly what those plans may be. Austin is not expected to wrestle at WrestleMania 31. Regarding Team 3D possibly going to WWE, word is that feelers from both sides have been sent out now that 3D is no longer under contract with TNA. As noted, WWE Divas champion AJ Lee and husband CM Punk were at Chicago Blackhawks hockey game on Wednesday night. A fan on Wrestling Forum posted the following on his encounter with the Punk, and the photo was removed from the website, so I wasn't able to get to download it. Quoted by saying, "Now I don't know if I put this in the wrong section or not, but anyways, I was at the Blackhawks game and standing in line getting food, and I looked to my left, and literally 2 feet next to me were AJ and Punk standing next to me. Now I am obsessed with both Punk and AJ, so I had a little heart attack. But what I kind of didn't like is the only thing that I said to them was, 'Hey Phil, can I get a picture, please?' And he smirked and totally ignored me, looking around like he was spacing the hell out. I didn't say anything else, so he didn't think I was a crazy fan. But dude, has Punk always been like this in public? It seems like he's got a stick up his ass and doesn't even want to acknowledge his fans that spent lots of money to get him super famous and rich. But at the same time, I understand, because I am sure he is totally sick and tired of always having people wanting photos of him and talk to him and asking him about coming back to WWE. I wasn't going to ask him that, but still, he should have at least said hi or sorry, no thank you. Tonight's main event opened up with at the BJCC in Birmingham, Alabama. Michael Coleslaw, Byron Saxton commentary. We go to ring out comes Miz for the Miz TV segment. We get a look back at Sheamus versus the Miz from Raw last night. Coleslaw hypes their rematch at Hell in a Cell. Miz talks about the United States title and calls Sheamus to the ring. Damon Sandow comes out dressed as Sheamus instead. Sandow speaks with a bad accent and says Miz is a better fighter than him and everything else. He goes on with the act and says Miz deserves to be the United States champion. Smackdown hands Miz a replica U.S. title belt and they pose with it. The Miz hits again, and out comes the real Sheamus. Miz and Sheamus have words while Smackdown plays the stunt double for Sheamus. Standing right beside him, Sheamus says he can be funny too and drops Smackdown with some slapstick comedy. Sheamus goes after Miz, but he escapes the ring. Sheamus ends up laying Smackdown out with a brogue kick. Still to come segment, Big E versus Rusev, back to commercial. Next up, we got Tyson Kidd versus R-Truth. Back from the break, Tyson Kidd is already in the ring with Natalia. Kidd says two things: don't lie, cats and facts. He's going to prove he's more than just Natalia's husband tonight with his second week in a row. R-Truth was out next. Back and forth to start the match. Kidd takes Truth down with a kick and drop kicks in the face. Kidd with stomps and boots in the corner. Kidd turns Truth upside down in the corner and pulls back on his neck. Kidd with a big kick catapults Truth under the bottom turnbuckle and covers for a 2 count. Kidd gets more offense in a pin attempt before going to a headlock as Natalia looks on. Truth looks to make a comeback, but Kidd takes a leg out and goes for the sharpshooter. Natalia looks to be giving Kidd advice and accidentally distracts him. Kidd asks her what she's doing and turns around to R-Truth's finisher for the win. So the come segment, Rusev versus Big E, back to commercials. Cesaro versus Justin Gabriel was up next. Back from the break, out comes Cesaro we got a sidebar video from earlier. Today was Cesaro promising he will be the next Intercontinental Champion. Justin Gabriel is out next. Cesaro hits a big back body drop to start off the match with a 2 count. For several minutes, then they go back and forth. Cesaro with a stomp to the gut. Cesaro kicks Gabriel around. Gabriel fights back, but Cesaro takes him to the corner and drops him with a boot. Cesaro with another 2 count. Gabriel finally makes a comeback and goes to the top but misses a moonsault. Cesaro hits the neutralizer for the win. Then we get more commercials followed by a look at John Cena and Dean Ambrose. Finally, your main event. WWE main event. Rusev versus Big E. Back to the ring. Out comes Rusev with Lana. Coleslaw hypes the match against Big Show at Hell in a Cell. Rusev waves the Russian flag in the ring as we go to commercial. We come back from commercial. Lana cuts a promo up. She talks about Mark Henry and Big Show. Rusev takes the mic and says Big Show will be a stinking anus. Rusev says he's going to turn Show inside out and Show will speak through his anus. Big E was out next to interrupt, and they go at it as Rusev beats Big E down with headbutts. Big E then catches Rusev in midair and drops him with a backbreaker for a 2 count. Rusev goes to the floor to regroup. Rusev drops Big E over the top rope and comes back in with more strikes. Big E makes a comeback, but Rusev goes back to the floor. Big E follows the counters of a move, sending Rusev back into a ring post. Rusev sends Big E back into the barrier. Rusev with a big overhead slam on the floor. Rusev rolls back in the ring as we go to commercial. Back from the break, Rusev has Big E down in the ring. Big E tries to fight back, but Rusev beats him down and stomps away. Big E blocks a suplex, and then another, and Big E hits a suplex of his own. Big E charges, but Rusev moves and sends him into the ring post. Rusev with more offense in the corner and some trash talking. Rusev with another hold and more offense in the corner. Rusev hits a big splash and charges again, but Big E catches him and hits a belly-to-belly suplex. They both get up and trade blows. Rusev blocks a belly-to-belly hit, but Big E catches him with a clothesline and a belly-to-belly suplex for a 2 count. Rusev then looks to turn it around, but Big E catches him with a big slam for a 2 count. Then Big E drops the straps and runs the ropes, but Rusev nails a super kick to the face. Lana tells Rusev to crush him and stomps on Big E's back, and then wins with an accolade. After the match, Rusev and Lana pose as the Russian flag drops down, and then we go to replays. As main event goes off the air with Rusev and Lana continuing their celebration. First report for Smackdown from Birmingham, Alabama, thanks to Joe Kaluuya for sending it in. Seth Rollins kicks off Smackdown, gets some major heat. Fans chant, "You sold out," as Rollins mocks them, telling them to keep the heat coming. Rollins says the fans would sell out as well. Rollins talks about Dean Ambrose and says he doesn't belong inside Hell in a Cell. He belongs in a straitjacket. Dolph Ziggler comes out and says that the fans want to see him, but not Rollins. Ziggler drops the mic and drop kicks Rollins to a big pop, and the match starts right away. Seth Rollins defeated Dolph Ziggler with a curb stomp in a non-title match. Dean Ambrose came out to a big pop. After the match, Ambrose talks about what he's going to do to Rollins at Hell in a Cell, but is interrupted by Kane's music. Kane puts himself in the main event against Ambrose for later in the show. Layla versus AJ Lee was up next. Paige and Alicia Fox watch from ringside. AJ gets the win with Black Widow. After the match, Alicia runs in the ring, but AJ counters her. Paige comes in and lays AJ out with her finisher. Backstage segment with Sheamus and the Usos. The Wyatt family vignette aired. Sheamus and the Usos versus Stardust, Goldust, and The Miz was up next. Sheamus got the win for his team after a brogue kick to Goldust. Big Show came out to a big pop show. Talks about how he's going to destroy Rusev at Hell in a Cell. He asked Mark Henry to come to the ring. Show asked Henry to stay out of the match at Hell in a Cell, and Henry says he will. They were interrupted by Rusev Atlanta, who cut a promo about Hell in a Cell. Nikki Bella defeated Naomi with her finisher. Renee Young interviewed Dean Ambrose backstage. And the main event for right now was Dean Ambrose versus Kane in the main event. Seth Rollins was at ringside. Ambrose won by disqualification when Rollins pulled the rope back. After the match, they attacked Ambrose. Kane powerbombed him, and Rollins went for the curb stomp, but Ambrose ended up hitting Kane with a chair while Rollins ran away up the stage. Report number 2, the show opened with Seth Rollins. Came out to talk about how he sold out. He said he's the future and spoke about his Hell in a Cell match against Dean Ambrose. Rollins said Ambrose doesn't deserve to be in the Hell in a Cell, but rather a straitjacket. Dolph came out and talked about respect. Dolph drop kick to start the match. So we get to the first match again. Seth Rollins defeated Dolph Ziggler in the non-title. Crowd was so pro Ziggler. Rollins was thrown outside and grabbed his knee. It was a pretty good back and forth match. Rollins went for the power bomb. Ziggler attempted to counter. Did not look good. And Rollins went for another one and hit the curb stomp for the win. AJ Lee was shown backstage skipping. Match number 2, AJ Lee defeated Layla. Alicia Fox and Paige were on commentary. Fox ran in afterwards and was taken out by AJ. But Paige hit Lee with her finisher and then skipped inside the ring. Sheamus and the Usos were interviewed before a 6-man tag match. And then a Wyatt family video showed. Match number 3, Sheamus and the Uso brothers defeated The Miz with Mizdow, Goldust and Stardust. Watching Sandow live is pretty funny. Writes Arnaldo. There was a big Let's Go Sandow chant briefly, and Sheamus won the match with a brogue kick. Big Show was shown walking backstage. Big Show came to the ring, cut a promo, and spoke about responsibility. He said he would pin Rusev at Hell in a Cell. Show called out Mark Henry, and they talked about old times. Show said he needed to be on his own against Rusev. Then Rusev's music played. Rusev and Lana spoke about how Show will let the United States down again. Show cut him off and said that he can't crush him because he's American made. Match number 4, Nikki Bella defeated Naomi. Nikki won with her finisher. The crowd wasn't really into the match. Dean Ambrose and John Cena versus Seth Rollins. Randy Orton and Kane in a handicap street fight was hyped for Raw. Another Wyatt vignette was shown. So there you go. Spoiler match for Raw. Dean Ambrose was interviewed by Renee Young. He told Stephanie that you can't prepare for the unknown, not even Dean Ambrose, what he is going to do. Match number 5, Dean Ambrose defeated Kane with Seth Rollins by disqualification. That's your main event. A very slow match to start. Rollins grabbed the rope and was disqualified. Rollins and Kane then powerbombed Ambrose and attempted to curb stomp onto a chair, which Ambrose grabbed the chair and was going to hit Seth with it, but he hit Kane instead. Ambrose left the ring and Seth was shown on stage to end Smackdown. And the dark match main event. The Wyatt family came out as Dean was left in the ring. Kane, Rollins, and the Wyatt family surrounded the ring. The Hills assaulted Ambrose with Dolph Ziggler. Usos and later Sheamus ran out. Babyfaces eventually hit their spots. And Dean hit his finisher on Seth. The crowd was very into the match. And that concludes your SmackDown spoilers, main event results, and birthdays. Even though it's like 3, 4, 2, whichever. Well, anyway, thanks for viewing. See you one man of me. By the way, if you don't know, you better call me, bro.